Right, welcome to one of the most unusual vessels that we have actually done a bit of biolocation on. Here we can see the nose cone of the ship, which is to enable it to enter planetary atmospheres. And the first thing that we noted about this ship is that it is gold plated, and the nose cone is gold plated. And as we go on to the main hull, we find that the outer hull, the whole ship is coated with gold. Now that means that the occupants of this ship are very unusual. This is the pressure hull. So as we walk in here, we actually walk into the flight deck of the ship, and here is the pilot and the three engineers that assist him. And the first thing about this flight deck crew is that they're humanoid. Now, from the flight deck we move into the main cabin of the craft, and again there's something unusual about it in that there's masses of space between the people. You know, that's one person, that's another person, that's another person, and so each one has an enormous amount of space around them. And when we look at them and we start looking at their uniforms, they've got gold braid everywhere. They've got gold braid over their shoulders, up their arms, and special emblems on their hats as well. So we've got a very important passenger crew, or passengers here. The other thing we've never come across before is the fact that it's got two lounges. So this is one lounge, and that's the other lounge. Now the ship itself is anoxic. In other words, there's no oxygen in the atmosphere. And that applies to this lounge, no oxygen in the atmosphere, and there's an airlock to enable people to get into it. When we go to this lounge, this is the one that has got oxygen in it. And there's a big airlock here to enable people to get in and out without spilling too much oxygen out into the ship itself, because oxygen is going to be poisonous to some of the occupants. Now, if we go back to the occupants, we know of probably 8 or 9 different GILF species. And amongst this lot, we've got the humanoids, we've got the P-GILFs, the S-GILFs, the 3 Ascard species. So we've got a good selection of species from our locality in the galaxy. Back here at the end we have the what you might call the rest room area, where they come to eat and do all the other things that you have to do if you're out in space in a spaceship. Now, the important thing is what is on the wings. The wings of the craft, we've only looked at one side of it, and as with terrestrial aircraft, they have emblems on them telling us who the aircraft belongs to, which company it belongs to, and so on. And here on this wing you'll see that we've got these round circles which are planets. So there's a picture of planets, and in point of fact one star as well. And at this point, Nigel, who's done a lot of the work on this, is now going to describe what is on this wing.
Okay, so it's Sunday. Let's put a date on this because it's quite a significant event. It's Sunday, the 8th of June, and I'm here because I got a phone call a couple of hours ago from Geoff and Gordon to say that we have a major find in understanding all these different types of GILFs that we've been observing since July 2011. So I came on site, and the ship was all marked out, and we had in the centre here 5 planets. And the significant thing that was pointed out to me was this planet here is a P-GILF planet, and there is symbology coming up here where representing humans, so they possibly are our masters. We moved up here, this was a space, we realised that this was some kind of family tree indicating all the relationships between the different species of GILF and the planets, a sort of federation. So we dowsed this out, very puzzling at first because we were finding planets without water. These represent spirit paintings on the wing, which is a different sort of concept to actual visual paintings because they contain all the information. The spirit is the magnetism of that planet, so it's a very distinct magnetic signature. So we started on a planet here, we've moved up here and found this one is a star, this is a moon, and then we swung across here and this is us, planet Earth. This is just pegs on the floor, but when you do the biolocation, it's a detailed magnetic representation of the Earth and us. So that's how we are cosmically connected at the moment. So this inner core of 5 planets, those are S-GILFs. 1, 2, 3 planets here, what we call the Asgards, they're the anaerobic intelligence. And we have since found another planet here, a 6th member of the inner sort of core of the Federation. We're not quite sure what that one is yet, we've still got to work there. From there we moved out and we have found more planets of the family tree, if I call it that, because of all the lines. There are lines connecting them, so there's a complete depiction, as far as I reckon, of the political system of what's happening in our solar system and the immediate part of the universe. The planets come out of here, other planets fine. These are A-GILFs down here, which we know, and up here are our species.
Wood fungi.
Sorry?
Wood fungi.
Wood fungi, cellulose based life. A lot of work to do, this is very complex dowsing. Now finally I'm going to hand over to Geoff because we've suddenly picked up right in the middle of this inner core, we've picked up a very detailed painting, and this really is the key to space travel. And this represents how all these different species have evolved to deal with the environment of space, and in particular to be able to travel, colonize and set up this political system. So if Geoff's going to say a few words about that.
Right. Well, Nigel in fact picked up the importance of this. We knew that there was something here, and Nigel was able to show that it was a gold rectangle, and cottoned on to the fact that you don't just have a gold rectangle on its own. There's something very symbolic about it, so there must be something in it as well. So once we started looking at it more closely, we found that in the center here is the symbolic representation of a quartz crystal, and then round that crystal is a broken ring of iridium. Now this is connected with their technology. They use iridium rings and quartz to generate magnetic fields. So once we'd found that, we realized that they were saying something about their use of magnetic fields. Now to control magnetic fields you need to reflect them in. So around the iridium ring is a ring of bismuth vanadate which reflects all the paramagnetic fields in, and then a ring of silicon sand which reflects the diamagnetic fields in. But you don't get those fields unless you do something to the crystal. And many people know that silicon crystals are piezoelectric, and in the dark you have a big crystal and you scrape something over it and you get a whole shower of light, flashes of light coming from it. So they're very active in a sense in terms of generating electromagnetic fields, light in this case. Now what they do is they have a solenoid which hammers a crystal, in other words puts energy into it, at particular frequencies. So the solenoid connected with the crystal is part of the basis of their technology. Now when they do that, the crystal generates electric and magnetic signals, electromagnetic radiation. But if you're very clever and you know what you're doing, you can take off the magnetic vector independently of the electric vector. And this is what they do. So in this representation, they're showing you the basis of their technology. On this side, the magnetic vector is taken out and is brought along there, so the magnetic vector is taken out there. On this side, the electric vector is taken out, and then they are combined at this point here. So they're really saying that the basis of their, what we call level 2, in fact probably level 3 technology, is quantum mechanics. And you get at quantum mechanics through the quartz crystal and knowing how to manipulate it and get electric and magnetic vectors off independently. So what I'm going to do now is hand back to Nigel. Do you want to say any more, Nigel?
I don't think there's much more we can say there, really, isn't it? Is that we now have to sort of develop this, look for further examples of this arrangement, and work out the exact details of the technology.
Yes, I think two things. One is the technology, but we're looking at their politics now. And what this is saying is that this is their federation, as Nigel mentioned earlier on. This is their federation, and we are part of it.